This is the Midland Home Service. We present the Song Carriers. The first of a further 4 programs in which Ewan MacColl introduces the songs and singers of the British folk song revival.
There's learned men that use the pen and the write the praises high of the old poteen from Ireland green, distilled with wheat and rye. To hell with your pills, it'll cure all ills, be a pagan, Christian or Jew. Take off your coat and I'll your throat with the real old mountain Jew. Aye, a skidamadoodle-doodle-doodle-doodle, skidamadoodle-doodle-doodle, a skidamadoodle-doodle-doodle, up into the mountain Jew.
John Reevy of Gateshead, playing the tin whistle and singing The Good Old Mountain Dew at the Birtley Folk Song Club, County Durham.
Years ago, we had a group. I've always been associated with groups. We had a T-box bass, and we used to sing, like Mama Don't Allow No Trombones, that sort of thing. We used to dress up in vests, string vests and bowler hat and Nicky Tams and all this.
I came into it in a sort of oblique way. I started off with an interest in jazz, which changed to an interest in blues, and finally I got round to British folk music.
John Watt, a Dunfermline printer, and Brian Pearson of St Albans, who works as a scientific assistant at an agricultural experimental station. The pattern of their musical development is the story of almost every young singer in the folk revival. An interest in jazz, followed by the discovery of Negro blues, and then the dawning realization that there lies to hand a remarkable body of English, Irish, and Scots songs. Songs just as tough, as pointed, as realistic as the most contemporary blues. The route of the revival singer's journey of discovery into his own traditional music is by now well signposted. The first important landmark is that formed by the industrial pieces, the songs and ballads of coal miners, railwaymen, weavers, and spinners. These are generally rhythmical songs, and they form a kind of bridge between the urban American repertoire on the one hand and our own traditional music on the other. The second stage is the discovery of the sea shanties and folksal songs. In the shanties, with their rough and often brutal texts and refrains which can be howled out like southern Negro-American field hollers, the revival singer finds another point of contact with the blues. Thereafter, the journey becomes more difficult, and those who venture beyond this frontier encounter a music which, at first, appears to be almost as strange and exotic as the songs of Iturbi forest pygmies. Here they find tunes full of melodic angularities and rhythmic subtleties, ballads with bare, harsh tunes allied to stories of extraordinary violence, as well as songs dealing with human relationships with a frankness rarely found in either formal art songs or in pop songs. Many revival singers look upon this stage as the end of the journey and are content to quarry this rich seam of raw material and recast it in a more, quote, acceptable, unquote, form. A growing number of singers, however, are beginning to assert that a folk music tradition is not merely a matter of repertoire. It is also, they argue, a matter of singing style. There is, they say, an organic relationship between traditional songs and the traditional way of singing them. When that relationship is broken, then the tradition becomes unhealthy and finally dies. Now, the singers in this program come from England, Ireland, and Scotland. They are all at different stages of development, but they have one thing in common, a burning conviction that traditional music can become a viable form of creative expression for our time. All of them are attempting to formulate a style of singing founded upon traditional elements. Some of them base their singing style upon a single traditional model. Others are consciously borrowing stylistic elements from a number of different sources and attempting to synthesize them into a homogeneous style. Here to begin is Brian Pearson of St Albans singing Ye Mariners All.
Ye mariners all, as you pass by, come in and drink if you're dry. Come spend me, lads, your money brisk, and pop your nose in a jug of this. Ye mariners all, if you've half a crown, you're welcome all for to sit down. Come spend me, lads, your money brisk, and pop your nose in a jug of this. Oh, now I'm old and can scarcely crawl. I've an old grey beard and a head that's bald. Crown my desire and fulfill my wish. A pretty young girl and a jug of this. And when I'm in my grave and dead, and all my sorrows are past and fled, transform me then into a fish, and let me swim in a jug of this.
Good, clean singing. Imaginative, but with the feeling nicely controlled, so that the nostalgia is contained and never allowed to spill over into sentimentality. That kind of tune, badly handled, can so easily sound mawkish. Pearson is content to let it speak for itself. The decoration is sparse but skillfully done and doesn't obscure the handsome melodic line. The clean, simple way of coming off the held notes at the end of the verses is particularly effective. And now from Aberdeen, Norman Kennedy, a 28-year-old income tax clerk. Kennedy spent much of his childhood in the Western Isles, where he learned many Gaelic songs and, even more important, assimilated stylistic features of Gaelic singing. Here he is singing a Bothy ballad, Sleepy Tune.
It happened at last Whitsuntide, I tired it on my place. Say I get up the inch to fee my fortune for to chase and sing airy and sing airy on. I met and we had the Mitchell and the fee we did presume. He's a farmer up Kenneth White, a place called Sleepy Tune, and sing airy and sing airy on. Gin ye agree with me, says he, you'll get the fairest play, for I never gar my servants work more nor 10 hours a day, and sing airy and sing airy on. Gin I tell to me, but true good faith I will agree. I think I'll gang wi' ye, although ye are an ugly Briton. Sing airy and sing airy on. 'Twas on a Monday morning we won hame to Sleepy Tune, and he ranked us and we'd order to lay his turnips down, and sing airy and sing airy on. Now the orders was to bed at 9 and never leave the town, and for elky time we left it we'd be fined half a croon, and sing airy and sing airy on. But we took little heed of him and often took the pass, sometimes to buy tobacco and sometimes to court a lass, and sing airy and sing airy on. And now the terms run again and our wages we hae won. Say we'll now at the rainy mere and raise us up some fun, and sing airy and sing airy on. And fin we're out and offered Bogar the Glasgow, I will tell him on the usage that we got at Sleepy Tune, and sing airy sing airy on. Maybe I'll see I'll add him a suppin' at his bros, and I'll gie him a lane my hunky for the dechty snotty nose, and sing airy-erity-yarry, and sing airy-erity-yarn.
That deadpan approach suits the song marvellously, and the dry, uninflected tone of voice lends an extra edge to the irony which is a built-in feature of the Bothy songs. And what wonderful, witty songs they are. It isn't surprising that so many of them have become standard items in the revival singers' repertoire. A performer with an entirely different style is Luke Kelly, a well-known figure in folk circles not only in his native Dublin, but in the English and Scottish clubs too. Kelly's delivery is emphatic and uncompromising. When he stands up and opens his mouth, we get the impression that we are being commanded to pay heed to the tradition. Occasionally, he mistakes volume for intensity, but at his best, he is very good indeed, vigorous, imaginative and skillful, and he is probably the most versatile Irish revival singer on the scene. Luke Kelly singing Galway Races.
As I went out through Galway town to seek for recreation on the 17th of August, me mind being elevated, there were multitudes assembled with their tickets at the station, and me eyes began to dazzle, and they off to see the races with me white fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. There were passengers from Limerick and passengers from Neenah, passengers from Dublin and sportsmen from Tipperary. There were passengers from Kerry and all quarters of the nation, and I remember Mr. Hackett for to join the Galway Blazers with me white fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. It's there you'll see the gamblers, the thimbles and the garters, and the sporting wheel of fortune with the 4 and 20 quarters. There was others who without scruple pelting wattles at poor Maggie, and her daddy well contented, and he looking at his daughter with me white fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. It's there you'll see confectioners with sugar sticks and dainties, the lozenges and oranges, the lemonade and raisins. There'll be gingerbread and spices to accommodate the ladies, and a big crew bean for tuppence to be sucking while you're able with me white fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. It's there you'll see the fiddlers, the pipers competing, and the nimble-footed dancers and the tripping on the daisies. There was others shouting cigars and knights and bills for all the races, with the colours of the jockey and the price and horses' ages. With me whack fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. It's there you'll see the jockeys, and they mounted on so stately, the pink, the blue, the orange and green, the emblem of our nation. When the bell was rung for starting, all the horses seemed impatient. No, I thought they never stood on ground, their speed was so amazing. With me whack fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day. There was 500,000 people there of all denominations, the Catholic, the Protestant, the Jew and Presbyterian. There was yet no animosity, no matter what persuasion, but filge and hospitality, inducing fresh acquaintance. With me whack fall-a-doo, fall-a-diddly-dum-a-day.
In 1951, Mrs. Cecilia Costello, a Birmingham housewife, recorded for the BBC Folk Song Archives a magnificent version of The Grey Cock. Here is a verse of that recording.
I must be going, no longer staying. The burning Thames I have to cross. Oh, I must be guided without a stumble into the arms of my dear lass.
That recording has inspired dozens of young revival singers to learn the song. Here is Sandra Kerr, a 24-year-old East London schoolteacher, singing it.
I must be going, no longer staying. The burning Thames I have to cross. I must be guided without a stumble into the arms of my dear lass. When he came to his true love's window, he knelt down gently upon a stone, and it's through a pane he whispered slowly, my dear lass, are you alone? She raised her head from her down soft pillow, and snowy were milk-white breasts, saying, who's there at my bedroom window, disturbing me from my long night's rest? Oh, I'm your lover, and don't discover. I pray you rise and let me in, for I am fatigued from my long night's journey. Besides, I am wet into the skin. Now this young girl rose and put on her clothing, till she quickly let her own true love in. Oh, they kissed, shook hands, and embraced each other, till that long night was near at an end. Willie dear, oh dearest Willie, where is that colour you'd some time ago? Oh Mary dear, the clay has changed me. I am but the ghost of your Willie-o. Then, oh cock, oh handsome cockerel, I pray you not crow until it is day, and your wings I'll make of the very first beaten gold, and your comb I'll make of the silver grey. But the cock it crew, and it crew so fully, it crew 3 hours before it was day. And before it was day, my love had to go away, not by the light of the moon, nor the light of the day. And when she saw her love disappearing, the tears down her face in streams did flow. He said, weep no more for me, dearest Mary, for I am no more your Willie-o. Then it's Willie dear, oh dearest Willie, whenever shall I see you again? When the fish they fly, love, and the seas run dry, love, and the rocks they melt by the heat of the sun.
Sandra Kerr learned Mrs. Costello's song from print. It's an intelligent and interesting interpretation. The pace of the singing is particularly good, for with tunes such as this, there is often a tendency to drag out the lines, so that we tend to lose the line of the story. Sandra Kerr avoids this. She extends the high notes of the tune to add to the dramatic effect, but keeps the song moving towards its tremendous climax. The very handsome melody is ornamented both with skill and taste, and the pathos of the situation is handled admirably. What one misses is the agony. Miss Kerr communicates to us an experience remembered in tranquility rather than an actual event. The opening, apocalyptic lines of the song, I must be going, no longer staying, the burning Thames I have to cross, demands a hard, thrusting tone if the urgency and terror of the situation are to be realized. Nevertheless, Sandra Kerr is a serious singer, well worth listening to, and one whose sense of style continues to develop. Another extremely interesting revival singer is Gordon MacCulloch, a 29-year-old building surveyor from Glasgow. He is at his best in the rhythmical songs, particularly when they contain an element of mockery or satire. Here he is singing Queen Eleanor's Confession.
Queen Eleanor's sick, and she's very, very sick. She's sick and like to die. And she sent for 12 friars frae France to pardon her sins ere she die. Now the king he has gotten word o' this, and an angry man he was he. And he sent for the Earl Marshal, and he's bid him come speedily to. Now a chill pat on the friar's robes, and I'll pat on another, and we'll gae in for the queen for to hear her sins together. Oh no, no, cried the Earl Marshal, oh no, that can't be, for gin the queen had word o' this, I hanged I would be. Now I swear by the hilt o' my good broadsword, and by the heavens say I, there shall not one drop o' your blood be spilt, Earl Marshal, ye when he hang high. So he's putting on the friar's robes, the king's putting on another, and they've gone in for the queen for to hear her sins together. Now the first great sin that ever I done, I will to thee unfold, for Earl Marshal he had my maiden heed, and the truth to thee I have told. Now that was a sin, and a very great sin, but pardoned it must be. Oh, amen, amen, said the Earl Marshal, but a very fierce man he was he. Now the second great sin that ever I done, and a great sin it was too, for we carried poison for 7 long years to poison King Henry. Now that was a sin, and a very great sin, but pardoned it must be. Oh, amen, amen, said the Earl Marshal, but a very fierce man he was he. Since she's turned her about wi' a direful look, her face turned to the wall, and they heard nae mair o' her secret sins, but she hadna been a maiden at all.
McCulloch's highly developed sense of irony, coupled with a nice feeling for the dramatic, results in a gleeful retelling of this ancient story in a way that is wholly contemporary. And it's my guess that Gordon McCulloch may become one of the guiding forces of the Scots folk song revival. Miss Frankie Armstrong of Hertfordshire is another of the new wave revival singers. A social worker among the blind, she began singing some 3 years ago, and in her own words sounded like a scratchy soprano in an amateur operatic society. Her method of dealing with her particular problem was a drastic one. She abandoned her soprano register and plummeted down until she found a new voice, so to speak. She has worked hard at exploring and developing the dark side of her vocal spectrum, and the result is interesting. Frankie Armstrong singing Higher Germany.
Come, me dearest Polly, now the war it has begun, and I must march along by the beating of the drum. Come, dress yourself all in your best and come along with me. I'll take you to the wars, my love, in higher Germany. Oh, it's when we get to Plymouth town a bed for you I'll have, that shall be covered in roses verses shall be read. And when our baby it is born, and is smiling on your knee, you will think of lovely William in higher Germany. Oh, cursed are the cruel wars that ever they should rise, and out of merry England press many a lad likewise. They've took my husband from me and all my brothers three, and they sent them to the cruel wars in higher Germany.
The next singer, Tim Lyons, works in London as an electrician's mate. He was born in County Cork, but all but 11 of his 28 years have been spent in England. 4 years ago, he became interested in folk music, and since then has spent all his free time learning songs, assimilating stylistic ideas from Irish traditional singers, and in particular, studying the style of Paddy Tunney of Donegal. Here he is singing My Lagan Love.
Well, Lagan stream sings a lullaby. There grows a lily fair. The twilight gleam is in her eye. The night is in her hair, and like a lovesick Lannan she hath my heart in thrall. No life I own, nor liberty, for love is Lord of all. And often when the beetles drone hath lulled the eve to sleep, I steal unto her shieling lone, and through the dooring peep, there on the cricket singing stone, she stars the bogwood fire, and hums in soft sweet undertone the song of heart's desire.
And finally, here is a fine example of lilting by a revival singer. It's Tim Lyons again, accompanied on the spoons by his wife Anna.
The Song Carriers was introduced by Ewan MacColl. Singers heard in the programme were John Reevy, Brian Pearson, Norman Kennedy, Luke Kelly, Mrs. Cecilia Costello, Sandra Kerr, Gordon McCulloch, Frankie Armstrong, and Tim Lyons. The recorded programme was produced by Charles Parker.
Really
second programme in this further series on the singers of the folk song revival will be broadcast at the same time next Friday.